Hi. So today I'm going to do my presentation on Mozart's Sonata in C major, K309, Movement 1. And I'm going to just jump right in with the 3 points of interest I chose, starting with the opening motive, the iconic 2 half notes preceded by 3 grace notes and so on. Mozart uses this motive in a number of ways, and that's very significant to the piece. One of the ways is to provide a way to get to a new key through sequencing, and another way is, and I think the most important way, is to provide a sense of home and connection throughout the piece. Mozart makes a lot of big choices and bold choices throughout this piece that are very contrasting in personality, and I think he gets away with this by using this motive. And again, this motive is used 7 times throughout the piece, so it's definitely important. And that brings me to my next point of harmonic interest. And like I said, well, not like I said, this piece has a lot of harmonic interest through leading tones and secondary dominants. And while that does provide a lot of harmonic interest naturally, I think one of the biggest points of interest happens in the beginning of the development. So we begin this piece in C major and go to the key of the dominant as a first level default choice, the key of G major, ending on a perfect authentic cadence by the end of the exposition. But the beginning of the development jarringly starts in the key of G minor. Completely unexpected, but I think the way Mozart gets away with this is by using that motive, again, to provide the connection between the development and the exposition. And we go on a harmonic journey throughout this. We go to the key of A minor with a perfect authentic cadence on the downbeat of 82. And then in measure 86, we begin with a sequencing using that motive and starting on the A natural, going finally in measure 101 to C minor. And I think that's very interesting too, because we're going to a parallel minor, which is often, at least in my time in music theory, not seen as much as going to the relative minor. Again, a bold choice. And in measure 110, we are finally introduced back to the home key of C major. And that brings me to my final point, which is rhythmic interest. So the opening motive starts with 2 half notes, and it has quarter notes and eighth notes, and that's the extent of that. And so you expect the piece to not be too fast, but right after that motive we jump right into a very fast-paced piece. And throughout the piece, the left hand is going in between 8th notes and 16th notes. And I think Mozart does this in a way to manipulate the listener into thinking the piece is constantly increasing in its speed. And while the piece does push naturally, especially when there's chordal 8th notes in the left hand, the piece is not moving completely, is not going out of the range of the tempo drastically. The piece naturally pushes and it naturally pulls with the motive, the 16th notes and the 8th notes, but Mozart really makes the piece feel like it's constantly going forward, constantly speeding up through his usage of going in between the 8th notes and the 16th notes, and they're often very heavy, very fast-paced, very graceful, very swift. And that brings me to my piece. So my piece, I know we're supposed to pick one point of interest, and my main point is the rhythmic point, but I kind of incorporated all 3 points into my piece. So I begin with an opening motive, and I'm in the key of F, concert F. And then throughout the piece, harmonic interest is introduced at one point with a jarring jump to the parallel minor of F minor, concert F minor. And again, I try to get away with it by Mozart, using Mozart's method of the motive, the opening motive. But again, my main point of interest is the rhythmic. At no point in the piece is there really no 16th notes playing. And I think that's the main point of interest throughout this piece, and my main point I'm trying to get across. And I hope these connections between my piece and Mozart's piece are relevant, and I will be playing it for you, and the name of it is The Distant Cousin, because I feel like this piece is a very, very, very distant cousin to Mozart's Sonata in C major. And I apologize for the delay in the beginning, but it's the only way I can get it to work with MUSC recording of it.